Hi busy hands, welcome to our lesson number 3 of our painters workshop. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's workshop where we did the very small little motif of dot painting, where I taught you how to make a circular design and also how to walk the dots. Today we're going to extend it a little bit more. What I'm going to teach you would be to make sure that we have a very clear circular design now, and this would be a very good mandala to be painting, to be doing dot painting, and also to put that inside a petal formation, and this will be our coaster that we're going to make today. Let's begin by doing a little bit of a sketching so it's a little bit easier. I would like my petal, my mandala, to be quite clearly a round one. So I'm just going to use my compass to do that. If you don't have a compass, it's okay. Go ahead and use your free hand or use a bottle cover or something that's round to trace it over. And then I will do a clock formation here, all right, and then I would be able to roughly have an estimate of the size of my petals, right? I like to veer it off to one corner because I would like to see my petals actually overflowing, and so here it is. This one is just a gauge. Later on I'll just touch up by changing the sizes as I'm painting it. And of course, let's not forget our little stem here and one of the leaves. And what I've done is I'm just going to do the easiest part first, which is to paint the leaves. So what I have here would be the green colored paints. I have quite a few green colors, so I have different shades, and this is what I'm going to do. We're just going to do a rough painting. Okay, and to make it look a little bit more alive, I'll just dab a different shade of green right around it, just to bring it alive. And it's nice to just dab a little bit of a different shade, and of course a little bit of yellow also would bring it, and it's just dabbing. Ideally, of course, if we're really doing acrylic painting and we have got acrylic painting classes, you would actually be using a dabbing brush, but it's okay if you don't have one, and I'm just making do with just a normal single brush here. Okay, and then you go back to the original color and just go through it again. Lightly tap, and there you have it, different shades of just a different tinge of yellow to brighten it up a little bit. Now we'll move on to the petals, and I'll bring back my tray from yesterday. So let's now move on to a bigger brush, and like I said, I'm going to use a yellow now, a bright sunflower. We just block it and we just paint it. Okay, so what I've done is this is my first round of painting. It's really ugly, but I'm not worried because I'm just gonna let it dry a little bit. And then because this is done on a very dark background, I would need to have another 2 or 3 coats. So let's see how it goes. So now the second layer of paint has gone on to the sunflower. I'm not going to be too fussy, even if I can still see the strokes. I think they're quite nice. It gives it a very rough look, a very natural look. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to add a little bit of white to my yellow paint, and I'm going to mix it. So my next layer, I'm going to have to make smaller petals, and I'm going to let them sit in between. So that gives it a new dimension. Okay, so I think this is quite alright for now. I'll come back to touch up that later, because I think when we go through it with the dark marker pens, when they are dry, you will actually get the petal look a little bit clearer. But I like the very bright yellow. So now let's move on to dotting. That's the fun part now. As usual, I'm just going to use just basically a few of my favorite tools, I would call them, right? And yeah, so let's begin. So it's basically what I taught you yesterday. Let's begin with, I just love the white, I don't know why. So I'm just going to start with the white, and because there's so much yellow, I'm just going to stay away from the yellow. So once again, pick up the paint, make sure you have the little pimple-like looking load of the paint, and then we gently tap and we pull. Not that great, if you can see, right? It's a bit rough, so I will just pick up more paint, all right? And let's see how this goes. Gently tap and pull. Okay, sometimes maybe the paint is a little bit too dry, so that's why you don't get a very nice pull. And remember to always wipe it. Okay, so given this one here, let's see what we can do. I'm going to now try to dot it all the way around. Okay, let's now try with a little bit of green. I'm just going to dot it. I'm going to use the clock now, the 12 o'clock. Let's move on. Let's see what we can do. Maybe what I'll do is I'm just going to use a little bit of yellow, since it's still within the circle, and I'm just going to tap. Later on, as it builds, we can actually put in more colors. And I'm just going to use my pencil now and just dot in between. And now I think I can actually make slightly bigger dots. Purple. There you go. And now that we have the bigger dots, it's easier to walk the dots. So I'm going to go back to my, let's see, the white perhaps, and I'm just going to walk the dots. So remember the walking the dots, it would be load, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice, go back to the same dot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I've done the parts with the what I call walking the dots, and it looks quite pretty. And then now I'm going to just use a broken chopstick, and I'm just going to add more colors. This color would be quite nice, so we load, and I always check to make sure that I've got that little extra little stiff peak. Don't press too hard. So that one kind of fills it up. So what I want to teach you now is something quite interesting that I picked up. So let's try this. I'm going to use this, the back of the toothpick here, and I'm going to just make sure that I have this outline that's really clear here, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to dot. I'm going to walk the dots now. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to just bigger, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it's been nicely outlined. And another trick to filling up, it's really to do this mandala is really to observe which are the so-called the white space. In this case, it would be the dark space. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to maybe add a little bit more colors. Let's try a little bit of red here. That's one of the white space that I would want to fill up with. Alright, so I think I'm quite happy with what I have here. Right, if you can see, it's pretty neat, and I think it's a very nice mandala on a sunflower. And now the last thing really to do is to use a marker pen. I find these a little bit useful, very useful in fact. And I'm just going to use the finer end of this to outline my petals. So we're going to start outlining the inner ones, because now that it's dry, give it a little bit of a shape if you could. So this is the first round of outlines, and I will go on to do the next round just to tidy up the ends. And you can see that the petals are now a lot neater, and what's last here would be the leaves. So here we have it, our lesson number 3, really incorporating very simple painting and having the dot painting right at the center as the main feature of our coaster. And what really you can do, I forgot to mention yesterday, would be to let this dry for 24 hours at least, and then to use a very nice gloss finish for the entire piece, and you're good to go. So we'll see you tomorrow for lesson 4. It's going to be a slightly bigger piece so that we can do 3 mandalas. So get ready, base coat your piece for tomorrow, a slightly larger one, big enough for us to do 3 or more mandalas. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.